Really, Rage? It's been 84 years. 84 years. Is that the word we're going for? The number? There. Moved you guys over to the right side of my screen like the other one. So you're not blocking my dice pool. The new Owlbear link is in the link section, or should be. It's not. I fix. Didn't I put it somewhere? I put it in general. So if you click on that, I will get you guys into the room if you're not already. We'll get that sorted.
I clicked Owlbear. So.
Wow.
Do I have to sign in?
Yeah, that way you don't have to do it again. It doesn't cost you anything. Just simple. Cactus. Cactus. That is now Cactus's new name is Cactus.
Cactus.
No, Cactus.
All right. How do I go to a room?
Basically, you click on the link that I put in general, and it will bring you to the room that I currently have set up for us, and then
I have nothing.
The link in general.
Oh, that would help probably. Hey, look at that! That one works. Wow, it's almost like if I follow the right link, it'll work correctly.
You listen to directions.
Yeah, wild.
Wow.
Hey, look at that.
Cactus's full name is a moist cactus, also known as the what is it? The wet desert veggie emperor.
The king of desert veggies.
There you go. The king
prince
of desert veggies.
The
Prince
monarch of moisture.
I want to push you down the stairs now.
I am the king of desert veggies and the monarch of moisture.
The horny bunny man is his other title as well.
The prince of poissons.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
I take that back. I don't want to push you down the stairs anymore.
You just want to shoot me.
I want to put you in like a Sun Met mixer and watch you tumble.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, man.
Also, I'm sorry. There is something I wish to share because this is an amazing headline.
Yeah.
Man drinking Crown Royal whilst cleaning sand from his gun shoots woman on Florida beach.
Talk about free advertising for Crown Royal, though. How about it?
Yeah, damn.
So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Alright, so. He's so mean to you. I'm sorry, Mrs. Rage, that he's so mean to you. If he's keep being mean, like, say the safe word pistachio, I'll time him out for a few minutes. It's fine.
I thought the safe word was ficus.
For us. For you and me, it's ficus.
Oh, for you and me, it's ficus. No, for you and me, it's chocobo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is chocobo. Anyway. Wow. Wow. Nate's been subscribed for 2 months. Wow.
Yeah, I got an ad, and I had to resubscribe, and because I was like, wait, what is this peasant nonsense? No peasant.
What is this peasant nonsense?
Shit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the swing of things here. Welcome everyone to apparently my son saying data from his bedroom, but also the finale of Beyond the Veil. It has been a minute coming because of what has been going on in the campaign. Unfortunately, because school's coming up, our dear players, Dr. Fishy Biscuits and Fly Dutchman, playing their respective characters, will unfortunately not have Sundays available. And so, because they're at the point of where the second arc is essentially going to be quote-unquote ending, but they're not close enough to finalize it, they're not close enough to really start the third one, we're just going to kind of give it a nice little bow this session, and then set it up for the sequel that will be starting in August. So, introductions so that you know who you're talking to. It is me, Burn the Priest, your dungeon master, your game master, whatever you want to call me. Been running the games, been doing this for a while, and excited to kind of finalize this whole situation. We have with us today a Moist Cactus playing Cactus, the Bard Tiefling. We have Blackburn playing the Tiefling Paladin known as Creed. We
Pleasure.
have Dr. Fishy Biscuits playing Zarya the Ranger. Oh. And of course we have Fly Dutchman playing Father Fly, the Dwarf Cleric.
Well, what?
What?
You could say he's pretty fly for a short guy.
It costs you nothing to not say that. Literally, it was free not to say those words.
It
did
actually wasn't.
anyways.
It hurt me inside, and I needed to let that out.
Yeah.
Good.
So, as a recap from last session, to make sure everyone is squared away, is that the past couple sessions have been some heavy business. The session before last, the party fought the Beast of Yumgarl, made their way down to Westminster where they found a large military force ready to work with them. And they landed at Dunmarn, where that session ended with them facing off against Volkar, that has now come underneath control of Athena and her archer battalions, where they rained a cascade of arrows into the town, striking down multiple innocents and some soldiers in its wake. But the party was able to continue pushing through, and eventually, within the next session, marched on Volkar with its full force in tow, and brought justice to Athena and her archer battalions. Creed facing her down in one-on-one combat and breaking her in front of the rest of her troopers, with the morale being broken and her being seen as someone who is unjust, unwise, and willing to put innocent blood into the ground. Her troopers disbanded, and in a lack of confidence stopped following her and instead wished to be taken as surrendering prisoners to the military force that the party has brought. They were also able to free the Glass Keep soldiers within Volkar, who helped establish a defensive perimeter to keep Volkar from falling again. Once that was all said and done, they left behind a defensive detachment and marched onto the Glass Keep, where a large battle would ensue. Whereas they came across the Glass Keep, they saw that Crom and his army, being the berserker he is, with a tithe of Celtic warriors behind him, had laid siege to the Glass Keep with everything under their power. The party entered through one of the northern gates into the city, as Crom had broken through 3 of the walls leading to the inner citadel. They sent their armored vehicles and the knights to the front to engage their military in open combat to try and stop the advance. The party took their infantry, went inside to secure the line and hold it against the encroaching horde of soldiers. Once there, they begin to fight Crom in one-on-one combat, beginning to try and push him back, utilizing their skills and their abilities together to try and break him, pushing past the fact that as he took damage, he got larger and got angrier and got stronger. Eventually, finally falling to the damage being put through, making him vulnerable to Creed, using the Crucible of Sin to bring fear into Crom's heart. The words Crom stated as he started to fall back, as he believed to see something else in front of it, was the words of Zeus, of name he continued to repeat, as if being judged immediately by this figure in front of him, and he began to run. The enemy was then pushed through an advanced retreat and was cleaned by the infantry and the rest of the party, as Cactus, sitting in his position within the chariot, called to the knights that if he's to cross the threshold, that he is to be eliminated with extreme prejudice. They saw the colossi of Crom fall into the ocean, telling them that he is finally gone, and for once in their time they were able to sleep once again, and they had their dreams. Each of the members had their own dreams, some solemn and some foreboding. Cactus dreamt of a home, of his family, of his dog, of his life, of his cars, of his town, of what he left. And that his homesickness that he's felt over the past almost year of being on this side of the veil, replaced with the solidarity that he is going to return soon. Zarya and Father Fly had the same. They dreamt of their homes, of their sky, of their grass, of their children, of their lives, of their routine, of their jobs, of their assignments, of what they were planning on doing in the far future. Their fear of never returning, their fear of the possibility of being left to memory in the form of their children, replaced by the feeling of peace, of that if it is meant to happen, it is going to happen soon, that the end goal that they wish to reach for is almost there. And Creed, unfortunately, did not sleep soundly. He had dreams that had a foreboding feeling come through it, a dark tone that rippled through the very thoughts he had left in his mind. He dreamed of a power that echoes through the veil and into this world. He dreamed of an explosion ripping through the ground, a blinding light burning into his eyes, taking away his sight of his friends, of his comrades, of his family. He dreamt of a ticking clock, of slowing time. He dreamed of a familiar face, a mysterious voice, of snow-capped mountains, of a derelict path through the sides, leading to an iron gate, rusted and shut tight. He dreamed of finding a new place where he belonged, where his skills could be used. He dreamt of a fight worth continuing, and that his purpose is not yet full. And as the sun began to rise, the birds returning to the Glass Keep now that the fighting is over, the reconstruction beginning. You all awaken to the smoke and dust billowing through the holes in the walls. And you all stand outside the inner citadel, near your chariot and your base camp, with the rest of the military that you have brought with you, either patrolling through the streets or have set up fortifications for the Glass Keep soldiers, maintaining the wounded, setting up fighting positions, and such. As you walk out, you come across multiple watch commanders, all speaking to different ranks of knights, getting situation reports, getting intelligence, giving out orders, giving out understanding of what needs to be done. And you find yourself in the morning sun, standing amongst the gusting winds through the broken stones, and the dust blowing through your clothing, billowing your capes and your pants, your amulets and brooches and treasures you found over this year, just knocking against you slowly and softly, almost as if moving on their own entail. You see Creed standing in the hole of the wall, his cape fluttering, very much so, the colors catching in the light, being of a complete contrast of the colors of the Glass Keep around him. And he just stands in solemn silence, the soldiers that he has now been put in command of, moving around him, continuing their duties, as he just simply watches, thinking deeply about something that you cannot see.
Is it Big Titty Tiefling?
I don't know, you have to ask him. So you all are now standing outside the inner citadel.
Man, I'm just out here playing music.
I think I think our dreams and like our like past experiences and all that have kind of put a sense of urgency into me about like, hey, this like really feels like it's happening, and like we now need to like make this thing snowball, or we're gonna get on the receiving end of something bad. So yeah, I definitely have like more like a more of a sense of urgency than I did probably before we landed in Dunmarin. And so I'm kind of all business and focused on the next thing. And I've got a couple of things that I would like to get done before we head out of here and take the army on the move wherever we're going next.
All right. So you guys are basically just, you specifically, Father Flyer, just basically focusing on business, getting everyone ready to go, and pushing forward, getting everything in the right spots, as what you believe is that you believe that something bad is coming, and you're trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, I would definitely see that Creed is staring solemnly out over, the wasteland across the Glass Keep, and give him his moment to, collect himself, but also would want to engage Creed about, Creed, I understand that your allegiances have shifted some in the past, even just few days. But I know that you still have likely connections and a fondness for those here at the Glass Keep. Do you have any ability to mobilize them and to get them ready, like, or at least talk to them about moving on in advance once they've kind of patched up their wounded here, set conditions for that, and then we get on with our attack against the other gods here.
I'm muted, so you didn't do anything. Creed's just gonna lift a hand up. He's gonna point straight through the open gates. It took multiple generations to build these walls, to build these gates. The only thing stopping anything from coming in here and massacring those who remain is going to be the soldiers of the Glass Keep. More than likely, the forces of Ravenholm are going to be all we have. If I can mobilize these men at all, it'd be simply to provide distant support in the form of artillery. That would be about it. But even then, I was just a knight sergeant. I couldn't command the sheer amount of men left. Furthermore, I went to bed before they evacuated. Those bastards at the council probably told them to hold to the last man. I can't quite see these gentlemen defying that.
Though, if there's a very simple saying a very wise captain once told me, and that's that managing the many is the exact same as managing the few. Simply a matter of logistics.
Might I inquire as to where exactly you expect me to find the additional soldiers required to defend the keep? If we're not to not split our forces from our own, force.
I mean, I don't think that's an unreasonable thought. That they need to remain defensible here. I guess my concern, and I'm not saying that we like if they say no, they can't spare the men, then no, they can't spare the men. My thought is we stand a much better chance the more soldiers that we have when we go on the offensive than leaving more soldiers back here to defend against a possible attack when we know we're going into a fight on the offense. Just,
Sorry.
I guess, for the DM, do we get a sense of? Yeah, they definitely don't have any like available manpower, or they have some they could spare. How does?
You can, looking at the people in this keep, that you're essentially looking at what's left of the military that's in the Glass Keep. The military that was here was devastated when it was sieged. Most of the forces in the outer walls were decimated, and they've been collapsed inward as the walls fell. So, the forces you currently have at your disposal from the Glass Keep is slim to none, because they need to now secure a large, gaping gateway going through 3 different walls of defense. So they're basically being forced onto their heels from the get-go,
I
unless
think
they set up fighting positions.
the way I'm kind of imagining the situation is like as each they fought to the last man at each wall, and then any reserves were immediately sent in to try and staunch the bleeding, and that happened at every level until we got here.
Yeah, it's essentially the way that the Glass Keep was built is that you had a first ID, a second ID, a third ID, and a fourth ID. The fourth ID, of course, was the Inner Citadel, and then the third was the third wall, second wall, first wall, because they had to have enough to cover the entirety of it, but because they were being hit from one direction, that entire division was pushed to those points. And so anyone that was able to essentially fall back once the wall was broken basically fought in that hole until they couldn't anymore. So you're looking at possibly 30% of their original strength. If you've, by possibility, by luck, you're maybe looking 40% of their original military strength. The Glass Keep got hit hard. So them sending anyone out to go with you, you're probably not going to get anything from it.
Okay.
Like, you still have 7 knights, a few tanks, APCs, trucks, and infantry. So you guys are still doing well on your own numbers, but you don't think you're going to get reinforcements from here. They're going to basically dedicate their entire leftover force to holding those 3 breaches and start building fighting positions backwards.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, then in that case, I leave Creed to his existential gazing, and I would like to go look at if the Glass Keep has any sort of reliquary or even like trophy room. I am for the DM here. I am specifically looking for a very valuable reliquary that I could ask to borrow. As a member of the party that helped,
You're
win the day
essentially trying
here
to
at the
find
Glass
something
Keep.
that's going to give you a leg up. If you're not going to be able to have infantry, you're trying to find something that you can use.
No, well, okay. I mean, I have a spell that one of the components is I need a golden reliquary worth 500 gold pieces.
Ah, okay.
And my, I guess, justification for asking this boon of them is, hey, we were late. I apologize for being late. Later than we might have been, but also we had other business to take care of, and we got here when we could. Can I borrow this? I will return it, assuming that I, am alive.
We were slightly busy fighting another deity. We'll be with you in a moment.
But if I use this, it will potentially help us a great deal, and I don't think it will be damaged unless, I get smoted to death or something. But
I mean, you bring that forward to one of the watch commanders, and they bring you to the Reclusiarch, who's the one that is in charge of the reliquary.
Of course it is.
That's literally
Of
the name of
course
the
it is.
person. That's literally the name of the person who's in charge of reliquary. Is the
I'm sure.
Reclusiarch.
No relate. Just happens to be like that. This just happens to be his call, huh?
I hate to say, but it actually is what it's called.
That is literally the name of the person who's in charge of a reliquary is the Reclusiarch.
To my dying day, you will never convince me. You either show me all the evidence, and I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to believe that at all.
Fine. Fine, don't believe it, but that's literally the title of the person who's in charge of a reliquary.
All right.
Whatever. Anyway, you were literally brought to the Reclusiarch who's in charge of the reliquary. And you basically give him that information of, I need something that is worth X amount because I have something that may give us a leg up in the coming fight and I want to end this fight. And that you do believe that if everything goes as planned, that nothing will be broken, you will be able to bring it back. And so, you want something that's, not going to be missed if something goes terribly wrong. And so, he looks over what he has as you see that the Glass Keep has a massive reliquary full of artifacts and other magical items that have been coveted, stored, studied, created, etc. over the years. And he eventually brings you to one thing that he believes will be enough of a price for you to utilize. And it's simply a small stone, about the size of a softball, that is cut into the shape of a cat's head with a large emerald in its left eye. And he simply gives it to you and says, this is a stone from the founding of the Glass Keep. It was a token of the first king of the Glass Keep before it became the democracy as it stands. It was held onto him as something it believed to bring him luck. And I believe that it is a ironic turn of events that I hope it does the same for you. And he hands it over to you as it is wrapped in a small red velvet cloth, and just simply looks to you and goes, whatever your path takes you next, do not take the status of this item into a stress. If you return with it, you return. But if you don't return, then we're all lost.
No pressure. Thanks. No, I say I am extremely grateful, and I will certainly, do my best to bring honor to the memory of the founder of the Glass Keep and all those who served here with honor and bravery.
From what you've done, you will continue to do wonderful things, and if you are able to do what you've done here, then I believe that you may win the coming fight, but the cost will be up to your actions.
Well, let's hope that goes well then.
He simply nods and turns back to inventorying the relics that have been left. And as you stare at this small carved stone, the power that emanates from it, you believe will be a good catalyst for whatever spell you have in mind. Even though the spell may specifically speak of something that is golden, this item in turn is worth more than its weight in magical catalysms.
Dope. All right. Also a question. Do I also get the Luckstone item?
Yes, it is essentially a luck stone, so you will, while you have it on your person, as long as it is not destroyed in the spell or otherwise, you will have a +1 to your saving throws and ability checks.
Hey, fucking yo.
My man. Alright. That about wraps up what I was gonna do. Other than, until we leave, I want to be spending my time with the wounded and help patching them up as best I can.
Alright. And yeah, so as you go around helping people with the wounds, you find that your gauntlet has making you better at your job. It's hard to describe. It seems that as you use it, as you walk through the bodies that have been laid out with proper respects, you feel the gauntlet become heavier. And then when you walk up to someone who is in need of assistance and you kneel down to assist them as you always do, they seem to heal significantly faster than before when you've used your spells. Whether it's from the gauntlet as you feel it lose its weight as you go about healing and helping and tending to those that are hurt. But you have this odd feeling that you are utilizing it to the best of its ability without really knowing it, just by proxy.
Like I'm getting better with it, or the item itself is becoming more powerful.
The item itself seems to be helping you significantly.
Oh,
You
okay.
just don't seem to understand how.
Does it seem to be like a dangerous thing, or
You're not really able to tell.
oh, great?
It's just simply that you just seem to be able to heal people much better. And that it just seems to get heavier as you walk past the deceased, and then it becomes lighter when you heal someone.
Okay.
You know he's
All
gonna
right.
ask at some point. He's like, "Hey, can you give me a random Constitution save?"
Yeah. This thing is just killing me. Like my insides are now becoming my outsides as I heal these people. Great.
Oh, it won't kill you yet.
Great. That made me feel so much better.
You know, the
Thank
key
you for
word
that.
there is "yet," though.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
No. I'm
for later.
selectively not hearing that last. Yeah. This is a tool that we'll use later. This is a surprise tool that we'll use later.
Surprise
Love it.
tool.
Thanks, Mickey Mouse.
No, you're welcome.
Okay.
Oh,
Creed, you wanted to go look into an armor forge?
oh yeah.
Alright,
Creed's
so
going
what are you
looking.
looking for, specifically?
Oh, I told you what I want.
A plate, like just regular full plate?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can. They easily have a set of full plate,
Oh,
without
yeah.
any tips or tricks, dude. Like just a standard plate mail.
Guess this is a meta question. Do I flex all the authority I have to try and get a sweeter set?
I mean, just roll me a natural d20 for me, real quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 1.
Nah, I don't think it will.
I got a 9.
So, you speak to the armorer, and you say that you're going into the thick of it, and you wish to have something that's going to help you in that setup. And he looks to you and goes, well, of course we have armor. We've recovered it from the fallen, but our armory is still relatively full, as we were always trying to be the best to be prepared. But since you seem to have a significant rank amongst your own group, it would seem that it would be best for you to have something that would benefit you in the long run. Here's, we have a Watch Commander's set of plate armor, where we have one that was on special order, unfortunately to a Watch Commander that is no longer with us, or we have a slightly improved variant of the plate armor that our Knight Commanders wear.
But then quiet the set that was custom ordered. Was it for a watch commander that was more administrative?
No, it was for one of our Watch Commanders of the Walls.
Ah, of course.
I can show you, and you can see if you would like it or not. I don't think he's going to be asking for it, and if you're going to fight something much like what we've seen, you will more than likely need its assistance. And so he brings you to a crate, and he opens it, and you see inside is a dark maroon plate armor with the normal golden trim you saw that is on all the Watch Commander's armor plating. But the metal seems strange. It doesn't look like steel. It looks like it's been mixed with something.
Hmm. Creed's gonna like do the whole like slow hand stroke across it.
You feel that the metal is smooth and undented, even from the blacksmith's attempts to shape it. And you can feel that it is significantly stronger, but not much heavier than standard steel armor. Just by pushing against it, you feel that it has little to no flex, even in the weak points. And the armor looks to you and goes, "The man who asked for this believed to be... He had a foreshadow of things to come, that he believed he was going to be in a fight for his life, and so he asked us to gather what resources we can and create this armor for him. It is meant to withstand even fatal blows and to help him live, for he was the Watch Commander of the First Wall. He wanted to put himself into any combat situation that arrived to make sure that nothing broke through. Unfortunately, his day came long before the armor was finished. It is reinforced. It is mixed with adamantine. So it will be much stronger, and it will stop certain fatal blows from harming you significantly."
I would very much like to wear and use this armor to both honor his sacrifice and his duty, and continue on his lineage of honor and glory.
You may have it, Watch Commander Creed. I believe that if he knew you were standing here after everything you've done, that he would be honored for you to wear it. It is yours. Take it, and good luck on finishing your fight.
Creed's gonna go ahead and put that drip on.
It is adamantine plate armor. So it will reduce critical hits against you to standard normal hits.
There it is. Yes, I don't have to create it. It is a thing. Sweet.
It is a thing.
Nice. Gonna get my drip on. Huh. Turns out it takes away from stealth. Who'd have thought? Plate
Who
armor's
would've
not
thought?
stealthy.
Man, good thing you're not a stealth-based character.
Yeah. With a solid 0 wisdom, yeah, he's doing great.
So, you all have gathered your things and done your due diligence to help where you can, gathering your forces and gathering the materials necessary. And you sit and you plan out your next move. You know currently that Head Thunder, Cauldry, and Saint Radric are still all under control from different deities. You knew that Cauldry was currently under siege from both Shiva and Balder. The conclusion of that fight is still inconclusive, as neither of their colossi have fallen. You know that Ares has control of Head Thunder, and Auron has control of Saint Radric. And you believe that she would not be happy to see you, as she is the sister deity of Crom, as she is the Celtic deity of death and rebirth.
Someone remind me to yell that Scarlet is hotter than her. Okay, please, someone do that.
He's just gonna kind of cock his head at you. I don't understand.
Scarlet is a Celtic demigod. not really a full deity.
What's a Celtic?
A culture. We'll just leave it at that. I don't have time to get into every single culture, but it's just a culture from a particular area of our world.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So now it comes down to essentially where would you like to go? You imagine that the best place would be to try and split the forces between the north and south region, as you have a standing force in Folkar, and you have the Glass Keep that is still standing. That if you hit Cauldry, you imagine that the two armies there would both be weakened from fighting each other for so long. And you may be able to sweep in and two birds with one stone, as the old saying goes.
The issue I
But
foresee.
my concern about... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. The issue I foresee with this, and I assume we're talking, we can't be sure we're hitting just them. We don't know if there are any survivors left.
This is true. Sorry, I'm currently munching down on a in character. I'm munching down on a fucking MRE. I'm eating pork and beans.
But of course, Firefly, my apologies. Your go force.
My concern would be we hit Cauldry and then we get like sandwiched between between Ares and Arwan. I don't know how you say that, but
Arwen.
yeah, that would be my concern. And then we were fighting on both fronts because I don't think our force up in Folkar is enough to take care of Ares on their own. But also, I think we also owe Cauldry because they kind of helped us get started.
We do owe.
I don't know.
We do owe them a pretty significant debt.
I do think, though, it seems like these deities are rather territorial, so maybe they wouldn't... Like, if we take Cauldry, would that necessarily mean that Ares and Arwen would attack us? I don't know.
Arwen,
They seem
maybe
kind of
not?
like they would like, hey, we have our city. I bet Ares is having a hard time in Head Thunder, right? I think that bulwark force was still there, yeah?
Yep.
So, like, I bet he's got his hands full.
Maybe not. Ares, right? Ares is a brutal motherfucker. Okay. He likes to, let me put it this way, he likes to skin the people that he beats in duels and wear them as part of his pelt. He's of all the deities that we have to face, he scares me the most. Because another one of his names is Mars Ultor the Destroyer.
The more you speak of him, the more wonderful he sounds to be around.
Yeah, he's... To be fair, he is a very loyal and honorable warrior. Unlike Athena, he will actually fight to the death in an honorable duel. Because that's like the one thing he wants more than anything.
It's almost as if he was the inspiration for Korn.
Yeah, like he will never stab you in the back. He'll just stab you in the face.
So, as you all are conversating and weighing the pros and cons of the situation, coming up with ideas based on the fact that these gods you've seen have been very territorial, and they don't like to work outside of their pantheons. Information has been given to you by Cactus with his pretty straightforward knowledge of the world that he sees from what he remembers. As you all sit there conversing, planning, the soldiers around you kind of getting themselves together and getting ready to move, you hear out in the distance the loosing of cannons and the loosing of what sounds like extremely large trebuchets, because the sound reaching you, it would mean that their size is immense. And you simply see projectiles start to fly from the general area of Head Thunder out into the ocean, about right here where the compass star is. And because of the distance, it takes a few seconds, about 47 seconds specifically, to fly from Head Thunder to that point. And you're just seeing volleys of these projectiles being launched. You realize that Ares has taken control of the artillery pieces that Head Thunder had at their disposal, that he must have erected large engines of war, as is his nature, and has begun firing in this area that is odd because there's nothing there. You've passed through it multiple times.
He's just having fun.
I'd like to try and see if I could judge the rounds. I want to see if they're getting closer to each other or if they're moving closer our way.
They're going straight east from Head Thunder. From what you're seeing, if they were bracketing towards you, they are significantly off not only by firing arc but by direction.
Are the impacts getting closer together?
The impacts seem to be walking in the ocean and going east.
He's trying to hit the broken down, maybe? Watcher's Rest?
You know that nothing on this region has the range to hit either of
Yeah.
those areas.
I know that. Does he know that, though? Like, he might not know
You
this
would
tag.
imagine that a god who's looking at this would have a simple idea of how a howitzer works, no matter how technologically
That's fair.
advanced it is.
That's fair.
Even if it's even a cannon versus a 777, the physics is the same.
Well, the problem you have though is the sheer technological advancement. Really, cannon versus a howitzer, there is no difference except in how the rounds actually behave.
Well, the howitzer was a cannon originally. It was a
Okay, real quick, we're getting off
large,
topic.
thick barrel cannon. It was a large, thick barrel cannon that was loaded at a certain angle and fired.
Okay, all right.
So him seeing it that way and then seeing it as it is now instead of a muzzle loaded but a breech loaded howitzer, he would understand the basic mechanics of it, but he probably would be like, no, you people go figure it out, I'm not gonna fucking do it. But point being, he would understand that it's meant to launch something at a high arc over a long distance.
Yeah.
So you see these rounds are walking east. And they're landing a good spread apart from one another, as it seems that he is just walking these out. You see the rounds from the howitzers landing and detonating in the water. These large stone, metal projectiles, whatever they are, being launched out of these other machines he's created, are launching these loud splotches into the water, throwing spray into the air that you can see from the glass keep. And they just keep walking as you're watching volley after volley travel across Trawler's Bay and into the ocean. Until eventually, one of them strikes something. It's one of the howitzer rounds. It hits what looks like a wall that isn't there. And
What?
all of a sudden, you hear the round stop. And then after a couple minutes, they start up again, but with even higher frequency this time, as you're watching all of their arcs be the same. Ares now essentially having found what he was looking for. And these rounds fly, and you start seeing them slam into this, what looks to be invisible dome in the middle of the ocean, spraying smoke and thunder across this barrier as it just continues to shimmer with a green and purplish energy that circles around it. And these rounds just continue to pummel whatever this is. It goes on for minutes. You're entranced looking at it.
Oh, hold on. Has Creed ever, or Creed's going to reflect back? He hasn't heard of. I don't think he hasn't really heard of any ships having problems navigating through the ocean.
Nope. You've passed through that part of the ocean multiple times, even before you met this group of people. Like, they've never been issues with trade routes or traveling vessels. You've passed through it a dozen times. There's plenty of people that have come through the Glass Keep that have passed through it. And so, all of a sudden, this massive object that is easily a few miles wide, being hit by these rounds, almost seeming to appear out of nowhere, is definitely a troublesome sight and one that raises a number of questions.
I'm gonna go ahead and Nate, buddy,
Yeah.
how much you want to bet that's where Zeus is? And
If I don't bet, do I win something? Is he not there? If I don't bet, can we not manifest him there? Is that how that works or no?
I don't know, but he's probably there because I mean, Ares and Zeus fucking hate each other. So if Ares is gonna be firing shit at anybody and any deity, it's gonna be Zeus.
Okay, or is the party together? And do we have any Glass Keep or Ravenholm soldiers near us?
I mean, you have both, because now everyone has been seeing these rounds. You caught the first glimpse of it, and you started watching out of curiosity, but now you have the other watch commanders next to you with spy glasses. You see a group of your Ravenholm soldiers who seem to be recon-based, having set up essentially a large bore telescope, and are looking at it. And one of them calls you over, Creed, and goes, "Watch Commander Creed, you may want to look through this, sir."
I'm going to assume it appears the rounds are striking something invisible and solid.
You may want to look closer, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Alright, Creed's gonna look.
So, what is unseen by even those with spy glasses that you are seeing through this large bore telescope is that it isn't just a solid object. It's a city behind this barrier. The barrier seems to thin as it's being hit, as the shimmering transparency begins to fade, and you see this large domed city with spires raising into the sky seem to appear as the mirage disappears.
If you tell me that it's Atlantis, I will in fact stab you in the foot.
No, it is not. It's not Atlantis. It's Creed would have an inkling to know what it is. Creed, having dealt with the Covenant for many, 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 many years through his service in the Glass Keep, has never heard of or seen their center of essentially connection.
Oh, Jesus.
It seems that Ares has found it. Ares has found High Charity.
Really?
That's
Really?
a cool name.
Don't ever change them. Don't ever.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's not the name I was expecting, but okay. So,
The name you were expecting.
Creed is gonna stand up and he's gonna very carefully run both armored hands down his face. Wonderful. Well, and he's gonna look Cactus directly in the eyes. I'm going to get my wish.
I knew. Your wish is not for a big titty tiefling.
He's gonna give you like a fucking bloodthirsty, hungry grin. I'm going to get to take down the council.
Please let me shoot one in the face.
And he's gonna beckon you over with a finger and gesture towards this telescope.
I'm assuming I see everything he's all.
You see it, but even the mirage has even started to disappear more, which those of you who aren't looking through the telescope or spyglass can now visibly see this massive domed city that has now appeared in the middle of the ocean, where there was once fog and turbulence that pushed people away, is now clear. And you see it easily across the horizon.
Okay, so Ares is attacking the thing that we don't like. Do we just need to pop some popcorn and like watch this go down?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that, but I also kind of want to put a round in one of their faces. Like,
Or do we think that if we defeat these guys, that maybe there's something to be done about these gods that's not us having to go fight them all?
I mean,
Don't
honestly,
believe this is going to be an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
you might actually. Ares has made alliances plenty of times, and he always honors them. He might try to stab you once the agreement is done, but he will never stab you during the agreement.
You don't appear to understand. The person that he is going to make an agreement with are the exact people who sent us out here to die in the desert.
No. I want to reverse that. I want to make a deal with Ares to defeat the Covenant.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, dude. No, those guys are the worst. The literal worst, dude.
Yeah, they. Look, I'm sorry. I have had a figurative hate boner for them since they stabbed us in the back.
That's what I was gonna watch Ares just kill them all, but if we want to get in on it, I'm also for that.
I have to admit, out of character, I'm sorry. That's not what I thought you were trying to say.
No. They're the worst because they got us. They jacked us up when we first arrived in Head Thunder. They sent us out into the desert to die. Yeah, not a fan.
On us.
Not a fan.
Ooh. Oh shit. And Creed is gonna fucking plummet straight to like fucking nervous. And he's gonna like walk over. He's gonna lean, whisper in your kitty cat. He's like, "The God Slayer still in the chariot."
The what?
The God Slayer.
Yeah, it is.
He's still a terrorist.
You want to let him out?
I don't know how we're supposed to handle this.
I got you.
I never thought I would say this, but be the best bard you can.
I'm gonna go talk to Godslayer.
Just start to play.
Yeah, so
Wait,
you
I
go
can't be
back
the
to the chariot.
I can't be the best bard. I don't have any condoms.
Shut up. So you go back to the chariot, and the Kingslayer is just sitting in there. He's been working on stuff. He's been helping manage like radio communications. He's been trying his best to be as useful as possible, as he knows that he doesn't really like to leave it, because even though he is Fey-touched, he's still not immortal, and doesn't like to be shot at, 'cause that's not his forte. Like, he can see the threads of fate, and he's like, I don't like where this is going. He likes to stay inside the armored vehicle at all times. So he's been working, trying to figure out strategies. And so you stick your head in through the hatch. Thank you for the biddies, Carson.
What's up, buddy?
It's nothing crazy. I'm just working and doing the thing that I always do. What's up?
You want to stab some people in the face with us?
Who exactly?
The Covenant.
And you see he's working on something, and all of a sudden you see him stop, and his head turns to look at you and goes, "You've found them?"
Yeah, we found. Well, I should say Ares found High Charity for us, but we plan on going and making a deal with a god, and we're gonna go fucking murder them.
You see a very terrifying grin cross this man's face. The man does not smile often. This is one of those times. And it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up for a second, as you worry of what exactly he's planning, and then you figure, best not to ask.
Right? That's creepy. Don't smile like that again. Leave that to me. I'm the smiling one, okay? My tits are better than yours. So, I take it you're in. I saw you shaking your head. Fuck off, Grim.
I am more than excited to cut the threads of fate where they start.
I'm gonna tap on top of the chariot. Good to hear. I'm gonna go let the others know. We're gonna go talk, or we're gonna have to meet up with Ares first, though, and probably sidetrack Ice Mommy for the time being. We'll deal with her in a bit.
How much of an edgelord he was.
It's when you're stuck looking at the threads of fate your entire life through a boon that you never wanted, you do become a bit of an edgelord. Just the man has lived a life that he never wanted, so he's kind of disgruntled. But yeah, so he just continues smiling as he continues working diligently on the projects he has in front of him. As
Real quick, don't cut yourself being too edgy.
He looks at you inquisitively and goes, "But my knives always have a good edge." "Ah, you were being sarcastic. I forgot about that human characteristic," as he went back to working on the projects.
If he wasn't so evil, he and Creed would be best friends.
Is that yummy? Huh? Yeah, that is yummy. You
Yeah,
like it?
so you
like
step out of the chariot after speaking to the Kingslayer, as he's basically told you that he's in for the long haul.
All right, so now I guess the question is, how do we approach Ares without getting destroyed?
Directly. In the open, directly.
All right.
Do we
Well,
have someone in charge of like logistics for our force?
Yeah, you have a logistics group.
All right, perfect. I'd like to meet with their commander. If I can find the right word.
You do so.
What is the fastest manner to get someone to, say Head Thunder from here?
Well, the fastest way would... Unfortunately, you'd have to go through Bracken's Pass by land, but we do have the landing craft. We would just have to have the force in Dunmar and bring them down to here. And you could simply go across Trawler's Bay directly to Head Thunder.
Thank you for your information. I'll allow you to return to your duties. I shall inform you if we have need of that.
Of course.
Gonna come back out and be like, my land is probably best. So, you say directly
Yes.
that this Ares, is he, what kind of, I hesitate to use the word gold, but you've used it. What kind of god is he?
He's a god of war, honor. Many, many ancient soldiers worshipped him. Many ancient soldiers worshipped him. He is very brutal, as I said before. We've established that, but he's also very honorable, as we've also always already established. He likes blunt and direct. He doesn't. Also, don't mention any use of magic. Period. Any. He doesn't like that shit.
Oh, you're telling me that he's a soldier?
Yes, effectively. He's
The
a
soldier.
yeah. He's a soldier's soldier.
I believe I have an idea. However, I'll ask you to fill me in on something, and I'll travel there. I guess, yeah, get everyone together and try to come up with a plan for this, because I'm gonna message it to you, Cactus, because we'll be like whispering with each other.
While I'm hooked up to the fucking chariot, I bet.
So you guys are going to go through Bracken's Pass to go to Head Thunder?
Yeah, I think we got to get on the move here, and so we can get this deal done before the Covenant has like a way to like, I don't know, magic move their base or like something. But I don't want to miss out on this opportunity.
Alright, so while Creed and Cactus converse in the chariot as you guys are preparing, you see that your Ravenholm soldiers have begun moving outside of the Glass Keep through the gateways that were formed by Crom, meeting up with the Imperial Knights and the tanks outside of the fortress. Excuse me. Your forces meet up and begin moving through Bracken's Pass. It takes you several hours to not only get to Bracken's Pass and through it, but then making your way towards Head Thunder. Once you're through the mountain pass, it's a straight shot there. As your force exits Bracken's Pass and you make the turn north, you see that to your west that Cauldry is under siege, that numerous pillars of smoke rise from its walls, that there are two different armies outside of its walls fighting for control. You see strikes of lightning and fire come down from the sky as what you imagine whoever is vying for control is trading blows. And you know that as much as you would like to divert, is that you do not have the time to do so. And so you continue on marching. And you eventually make it to within a few miles of Head Thunder. On approach, ever slowly, with your full force in tow.
Can I put out some kind of like signal to like, we come to treat with you, not to attack?
Butterfly, I believe I have a solution. Green's gonna go ahead and step outside, cast Thaumaturgy,
Okay.
and bellow as loudly as he can. I wish to speak with the commander here. I wish to speak with Ares himself. I seek it on the basis of honor.
So, you step out in the front of your formation as all the vehicles kind of come to a halt, the engines and hydraulics rumbling and shifting as they all stand ready to follow your command and fight to the bitter end. You step forward casting Thaumaturgy. You're a couple miles from Head Thunder. Your force stands behind you. You speak these words, and in a crack of red lightning, dust and smoke billowing from the ground a few hundred yards in front of you, a large humanoid in black spiked armor with red glowing eyes behind his visor appears. A red sash goes across his shoulders, and a thick blood red cape billows from the back that seems to lend its influence to those of the ancient Spartans. The man in front of you, I am well aware of who he is. You see him standing in front. He removes his helmet, and he simply speaks back to you. I am Ares. You see that this individual is easily 8 feet tall. He's massive. He is a living tank, if you've ever seen one. And he simply looks to you, Creed, and goes, "Who is the one that summons me here on the basis of honor?"
I am Creed, Watch Commander of the War Master Leandros' armies of Ravenholm, formerly a Knight Sergeant of the Glass Keep, formerly under siege by Crom. From the Glass Keep, or what remains of it, we saw your forces engaging a structure out in the water. I come on the basis of honor to warn you. Those whom you are striking will attempt to deceive you, to lie to you, as they have myself and my compatriots. We have no intention of stopping your attack. However, we have come here both to ascertain the survivability of those here, as well as, on my personal honor, to warn you of the trickery and deception they will attempt to visit upon you. I'm told that in your own lands, you had a similar person, God. My intention merely is to inform you and state that if we are to do battle, I shall fight you on the field of honor, both honorably and bravely, and I ask that you do the same.
He nods to you, and he responds. He goes, I am well aware of the individuals that I strike, as I learned of their existence from those that I have captured here, that they are just as bad as my brother once was, my father. And so in turn, knowing of their existence is a blight upon this world, and I will not see it stand if I wish to take back control. I do not plan on listening to the words they speak, only judging them on the actions of what they wish to push forward, but all they've done is send others to die in their name. They have no honor in my eyes, and so I will strike them down as quickly and as swiftly as I would strike down my own sworn enemies. If you wish to make haste to this structure that I have found for you, then so be it. Just know that once that structure falls, you and me will no longer be allies of convenience, and we will find each other on the battlefield to prove who is the superior combatant, as there can only be one true warlord on this region, and I believe it will be me.
Might I... Pardon me, I've never... May I rather put, I've never encountered someone quite so polite before battle. And for that, as one soldier to another, I must say I appreciate it. But I was told that there's someone you truly, truly despise. I believe her name is Athena.
You see him tilt his head back slightly. He goes, yes, I do have quarrels with my family, if that's what you speak of. My father and siblings such. Athena was one of them. Though she was wise in her actions, she had no tradition, no honor, only the victory in her grasp, fighting from a distance, hitting from the shadows. Why do you ask as such?
Before I answer your question, might I request that if I do not strike you first, and we do not intend to engage in combat here, may I remove my sword?
He simply motions to you as he's still 100 yards away from you. He goes,
Yes, but...
You may remove your sword if you so wish, Watch Commander Kreen. We stand as equals currently. I do not wish to do fight with one that seems to have honor and an honorable unit behind him.
Creed's going to unclasp his sword and sheath, lay it down, he's going to lay his shield down. Must reach into my pouch. Might I approach you as well?
He nods as he begins to slowly walk towards you.
Alright, Creed is going to reach in and pull out the piece of her spear, but keep it kind of concealed in his hand.
Alright.
And he's going to meet halfway with Ares, and then he's going to hold it out to him.
As you approach Ares, the sheer scale of his mass becomes very well understood from where you stand. From before, it was hard to tell, as he was far away, and that was a trick of the sight. But as you make yourself closer to him, he is massive, and you meet him halfway, standing a few feet apart from each other, or a few yards away from each other, and you simply hold out the spearhead that was once embedded in your shoulder.
And he's just going to hand it out. He's not going to say much more. He's going to kind of let Ares have a moment. I guess he'll say, "I believe this will speak for itself."
He looks at the spearhead, and he looks to you, and he stands there for a moment looking at it, and you see him tilt his head back and begin in guttural laughter as he just laughs at the spearhead. And he finally calms himself and goes, "Ah, I wondered how she met her end. I imagine it was your doing when I saw her colossi fell, yes?
Of course.
She was never one to fight fairly, nor to fight in a way that made much sense. I imagine you fought her in single combat and she lost brutally, I would imagine, from your stature."
Creed will kind of like subconsciously like reach towards his shoulder. She attempted to put on a veneer of honor and dignity. However, it did not last. I did take her down. I gave her many chances to choose to end things honorably, and she chose not to. In the end, yes, she did die rather brutally. Again, I was informed that, I shall say, she's not your favorite person. And I'm not sure if it pleases or displeases you, but before she died, I had more or less convinced most of her soldiers to abandon her.
He chuckles again and goes, "I imagine as much. She was not one to instill loyalty in those, just fear. Fear for the fact that her decisions would lead them to life or death, and that her judgment was the final will of the gods and the fates themselves. It seems that it finally came back to fall her where she stood, as I once told her many centuries ago. Her arrogance would be the end." You've done the Pantheon a service, Watch Commander Creed. Even though you may not feel it as such, I hold no malcontempt against you for ridding my audience of one such as herself. She was weak, and you removed her much like you would prune a broken branch from a tree. You have made the whole stronger because of your actions, and I thank you for it. And he reaches out to take the spearhead from you.
Creed is just going to let him take it.
He takes it and he puts it into his belt. And he goes, "Now, Watch Commander Creed, I believe our formalities have concluded, as I have a fortification to return to and much work to be done, and I believe you have a visit to organize."
Of course. And Creed will hold out his hand for a handshake.
And he'll shake your hand with his left, with the one that holds his shield, and simply look at you and go, "Remember, once this fight is done, you owe me a fight to the death, Watch Commander Creed. I will take what is mine, but if you stand in my way, I hope that you die an honorable death, and I hope you wish the same for me."
I do. And might I share a quote I find interesting that it is managed to find its way across multiple worlds.
Speak it.
And he'll look him in the eye with like a wry smile. With your shield or on it.
With your shield or on it. And he disengages the clasp, and you see him disappear in a cloud of smoke and red lightning, much as he arrived. And he is gone.
And Creed's gonna walk back and pick up his stuff. Just walk back to everyone. Well, the good news is the council would die. There's bad news, however. I believe we're all going to die.
Oh no, you don't say. Going to attack a bunch of gods and then the evil masterminds of this realm. I don't know. What are we waiting for?
I did forget one other thing. And he'll look over at Cactus. You were right. He hates the bitch.
Mm-hmm. I told you. He really, really, really hates her.
Killing his sister? Whatever.
Yep.
Killing Athena was good.
It was his sister. Problem is, she humiliated him like 3 times. Tricked him into helping defend a city that, she decided to attack then herself and make him look like a fool.
Well, so much for that plan. I guess do you still wish to fight him, or do you want to wait?
We're fucking waiting.
So, when we went past Cauldry,
Uh-huh.
and we saw what appeared to be the 2 armies fighting, did they appear to be fighting the town from opposite ends?
Themselves.
They were fighting each other. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's what I just thought about. Because if they were fighting the town, that meant somehow that town was still putting up a fight, which that's impressive.
It was. It is still putting up a fight, but the majority of the army outside of Cauldry is fighting between themselves.
Yeah. Alright. So. Yeah, that's what we call a problem.
As you've reconvened with the party, the army standing idly by, waiting for your orders, you do hear a voice echo from Head Thunder that is Ares, as he seems to project his voice across the distance. And he goes, Creed, if you are still there, be wary. I have heard a message that Father will be here soon. I imagine you must make haste before he arrives.
I don't suppose, and I look at Cactus, I don't suppose you wish to elaborate. What does he mean by father?
Cactus.
I just realized I was muted.
I thought you 404'd him. I was like, that's a fair response. Fair enough.
No, Zeus. His father is Zeus.
And the thought of Zeus made Crom run away in terror. Right?
Yes.
Right. Seems good.
Completely unrelated question: is Crom married? Because that would explain the fear thing.
He's technically married, but it's a long story.
So what I'm hearing is he's got a wife. Yeah, and I'm seeing why he's scared of Zeus. That checks out. I can make my own jokes. It takes a little setup, but
it's good. It's good. I like it. I'm here for it. But yeah, so Ares basically warns you that Father will be here soon, and that if you are to make haste, you should do so.
Mm-hmm. All right, so, man, technically, actually, I think so. I know Shiva is Hindu.
Yes.
Baldir, I'm gonna guess he's also Hindu. Norse. Okay.
Norse.
And Arwen or Arwen? Also
Arwen is
Norse?
Celtic.
Celtic. Okay, cool. So I'm just thinking we only got one that Ares or that Zeus would actually care about. So, uh, oh, oh, um. So, random question, 100%: is Ares the kind of guy to narc on a homie?
No, he's not going to narc as he doesn't exactly have a good relationship with Zeus.
Well, no, I'm worried about the fact, like, if Zeus comes up and starts asking questions about where his daughter is,
He'll
I don't
probably
think
tell her that she fell in combat, and he'll probably go find out where she fell, and he'll probably eventually find you if that's what you're
okay,
wondering.
cool. All right, cool. That's. I don't want to just be like standing here monologuing, and all of a sudden I just do a lightning bolt and I'm gone. So,
No,
all right.
that is a threat, but like that's
Okay,
Ares
cool.
isn't
Sorry.
gonna give you out. No. So it basically comes down to what's your plan here. Because you can either make haste to get the landing craft down to Trawler's Bay and make your way towards High Charity, or you can try and secure Cauldron.
I think we got to take this advantage and take on the old council here.
Well, do we have to?
This is a prime chance to piss in some council weedies, and I'm very here.
I want them.
I have a gun.
I feel like I should point out that. Bad mind, I wish to stab at least one of them. However, as you said, this problem sort of solves itself. So, why not just let him do his thing?
Because it's personal.
Yep. And also, I'm scared that the King Slayer is gonna. If we don't go there now, he's gonna have a serious problem with it.
He's gonna have a fucking aneurysm.
What if I have an option that benefits everyone?
I'm all ears.
Cactus,
Mm-hmm.
has Ares ever been known to have a champion?
At times.
Greech is gonna smile. I believe I have an idea. And Creed's gonna make his way over to the Kingslayer.
Okay.
How dedicated are you to killing the council?
They are the one thing that stands between me and a peaceful life.
How do you feel about the gods?
The gods have not forsaken me yet.
Wonderful. Final question, Mr. Cactus. How does Ares like deals?
What do you mean?
What if I told him that I had an option for him to infiltrate the area he wishes to wipe out? But he doesn't have to do anything.
He wouldn't do it. He don't fuck around with infiltration. And...
Well, there goes that plan. I was going to offer our friend here as a champion.
Who, Nate?
No.
Kingslayer.
Oh, the Kingslayer? I mean, generally, so the problem with being a champion of Mars, right, of Ares, is that he tends to want to kill him. Like, he likes them, they serve him well, and he kind of has a fun time going, hey, you did good. Fight me. Let's see how good you are.
Oh, see, can't be simple.
So the military around you, as you guys are conversating, the Kingslayer's been speaking to the logistics command. That is not the picture I'm going to be using.
You know what that is, though?
I know what it is, but I'm not.
That's Columbia.
I know. It's not a flying city. It's on the ocean, but it's fine. Whatever. But essentially, as you guys are conversing, the Kingslayer's been in communications with the logistics officer, and they have begun moving the landing craft from Dunmarn down to Trawler's Bay. They also have good news for you, as they got in communication with Dunmarn. Another large force has landed out of Westminster, as they've been essentially ferrying people back and forth to establish a decent-sized force on this side of the region. And so you have another pretty decent-sized force of infantry and APCs waiting in Dunmarn that have essentially basic orders from the Kingslayer to go down and fortify the Glass Keep as a staging point.
Not so sure about that, Chief. Wouldn't it be better to have them go to the north side of Head Thunder?
You can easily have them do that. They're in motorized vehicles. It wouldn't be hard for them to make a U-turn.
I'm gonna defer to the officer here. Because that way I can't get yelled at for being wrong.
What's the question here?
You have a large force that has landed in Dunmarn, another 400 troopers with applicable APC capability, and the Kingslayer is going to have them sent down to the Glass Keep to help fortify it.
I want
to have
to go.
location.
I say north of Head Thunder. Personally.
Yeah, can we have them stage, link up with that force that's in full car, so that when the fight does come back here to Head Thunder, we can...
Yeah, that's easily done. So, you send the message to Dunmarn, and the force responds with an affirmative, and they said they will move to Falkar and link up with the standing force there.
Wonderful.
So, by this point, the landing craft have landed at the shore of Trawler's Bay near you, and your force begins to load. It takes them probably about an hour to get everyone on the boats and ready to go. The knights and tanks taking the front row to be standing turrets for the approach of the landing craft. Once they're all done, you get a call back from the boat commanders that everything's prepared and they're waiting on your order to begin approach on High Charity, which is still being shelled by Head Thunder.
You said that the shield is still up?
The shield is down. The mirage
Okay.
has fallen, and the shells are now landing in the large city.
Alright. I guess we didn't really communicate that effectively of hey, can you stop shelling this when we get there?
Didn't think to ask. You're supposed to let me know these things.
It just seemed like a good idea, hey, don't shoot the place where we're going to be at.
Let me ask you a question then. If you get something new, what happens if someone tells you to stop using it?
Yeah, I get that. But
The man just got new guns.
yeah,
And you expect him to stop using them?
No, you're right. But maybe he could not hit directly where we're gonna be and aim them over there.
I mean,
What?
Nate, from the scale of the city, from what you saw just from the Glass Keep, you can tell that Ares could shell one part of it, and you could land a completely different part of it.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
This thing is
let the-
miles wide.
This
Let the
isn't.
bombardment continue.
This isn't a suburb. This is like an actual city.
We're going to the top. I want those dudes whatever the main city building is, we're beelining straight there.
All right. So, am I hearing that you're going to be on your way and start crossing the ocean when you get to High Charity?
I'm all for it. I just still have images of us getting bodied in that cathedral in Headthunder still, knowing that it was these guys that like orchestrated that whole thing. So I'm like, we're here to do a job.
Oh, we're here. We're ready. So, at that point in time, you launch. All the boats launch, the chariot launches, and you all begin your approach to High Charity. You follow the shells inward, taking an hour or so to finally get to the actual border of the city you want to land in. You find yourself landing on the southwestern approach as the shells are landing on the west and northwestern side. As you approach, rounds are fired from High Charity at you, which are then countered by the large number of tanks and knights you have in the front of your landing crafts, as they decimate a beachhead and you are able to land. The next 15 minutes are a gruesome combat theater as your troops land and do what they're best at. That is correct, my leg, to be indeed from what happens to the troopers that are defending High Charity. You find that the troopers that are defending High Charity seem to be mostly bulwark soldiers, those of their elites, which stand no match against even your basic Ravenholm troopers, as their rifles and the knights, tanks, and APCs you brought with you swamp them in an instant, as High Charity was never meant to withstand an assault, as they believed they'd be able to hide. They'd be able to use what magic, what items, artifacts, and other things they've created to defend themselves. And it is a one-sided fight as you approach. The chariot lands last, and you can clearly see that the largest spire is in the dead center of High Charity. And it seems to give an aura of, this is where the assholes live. And your military just simply starts cutting a swath towards that city, towards that tower, to give you that opening. You see the knights in front of you, the tanks following close behind, forming up with the infantry, the rifle sounds and rifle reports, the cannons firing as the smoke billows from within the streets that were once quiet have now been decimated by your approach. You see the knights simply running, their hydraulics and metal screeching as they push their weight forward, their weapons firing, their large saw blades they have as a melee weapon, their swords swinging through buildings, knocking them down in a single hit. Even themselves throwing their entire weight through these buildings and fortifications, pillboxes that fire rounds down at you, rudimentary machine guns being utilized, are no match for the knights that fire their own large caliber rounds, but also just throw their sheer mass into the pillboxes, flattening them.
Alright, now mommy, daddy button.
The idea of these individuals just being absolutely destroyed by the situation you find yourself in is something that you didn't think would occur, as you just simply watch in awe as your military continues pushing forward, just constantly pushing harder and harder to get you to that spire. They run into some resistance. They run into some situations of problems that are simply wiped out. And you finally find yourself at the base of the large spire. As you make your final approach, the chariot carrying you, Cactus making use of the Bushmaster on top of it to find those weak spots of certain areas that seem to be firing down or assaulting you. Weapons and magics being used, but seemingly to ill effect, as in this approach, you've only lost 50 or 60 of your troopers, a couple of trucks, a couple of APCs, a tank, and a knight, just from sheer chance and sheer misfortune on the battlefield as you were fighting in a urban territory. As you finally get to the tower, you find yourself at the base. The door is guarded and then simply evaporated by one of the knights in plasma weaponry. And you have your way in. As you exit the chariot to make your way inside, the Kingslayer staying very close, you see that clouds have started to form overhead. Lightning flashes and thunder echoing over the ocean. And you enter the spire, finding yourself in the lobby of what looks to be an administration building. Those inside panicked, not raising a hand against you. Some of the bulwark soldiers raise their weapons, but as squads of your own infantry pile in behind you, securing the area, those that give aggression or threats are put down with swift justice and extreme prejudice on your orders to clear out this city of corruption, of hatred, of oppression. And you find your way to an elevator. The elevator, as you step in, the 6 of you piling in easily, has a number of buttons, but one that's simply being at the top of the order would lead you simply to what is the offices, the center, the area that the prophets stay in. You imagine at this point that the town, High Charity itself, has gone under high alert as you hear battle sounds start to echo from other sides of the city, as you imagine that Ares forces themselves have also landed through their own mode of transportation to engage the city and wipe it off the face of Etheria. Or not Etheria, of the Veil. You ascend, the windows of the elevator pointing outwards, as you see pillars of smoke and fire billowing from all the way up around High Charity in areas that even your forces haven't touched yet. You see lightning strikes hitting buildings, the thunder sounding closer as the sun that was beaming down begins to be blotted out by the thick cloud cover overhead, the light becoming ominous and foreboding. And after a minute or so, the elevator comes to a stop as you find yourself almost at the mountain peak of a tall range, looking down on the ants below, seeing only but small shapes moving between the streets, the larger shapes of your knights surrounding the spire, and the military and armored vehicles moving into fighting positions, firing into areas that you do not see the enemy, but they do. Streams of plasma and fire erupt as the door in front of you opens to a large staging area, very open, with multiple stone pillars leading to a handful of rooms, with one large doorway to your front leading ever further into a large antechamber. And you find yourself in the Prophet's quarters.
Sorry. So there's multiple rooms and there's one big room? Well, doors and one big door?
Yes, so
Alright.
I'm currently just going to get some base hallway set up for you.
Oh.
And you will find yourselves here. Bonk. 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 And
She loaded.
where is the silly hat? There. Bonketh. And then, of course, we'll put this down for the Kingslayer.
I didn't mean to move your square.
How dare.
Why can't I touch things?
I locked them all, so you're fine now.
Okay.
But yeah, so...
Too
the
much
6 of you-
power.
Too much power! 6 of you find yourself in this hallway with the stone pillars with a room to your left and right and a large antechamber to your front through a large doorway. As you exit the elevator, Creed, you hear a voice. Faint and echoing through your mind. The voice is familiar. It sounds as if it's Max. And the voice simply tells you, "You're almost there, Creed. Keep pushing. Finish what you started." And as you stand in this hallway, there seems to be no soldiers, no civilians, no sound, lights and doors only. What do you do?
Was that to Creed specific, or is that to
No,
all of
just
us?
all of you.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Like you were all now standing in this hallway. What do you do?
I'm sorry, I missed. Are these doors here? Or are these
Yes.
just like
Those are doors.
okay? Doorway? No doorway here. Just open into
Yes.
a room. Okay.
I'm summoning my wolf because I forgot that I have him.
Very good.
I would like to call out into the hallway into the room above or ahead of us, and call for the. It's the council, right? Is the name of the
Prophets.
prophets?
Yes.
I really want to make some dad joke, but I will probably just call out. No, you know what? Knock knock, prophets. It's us, your boys.
Aloof.
I feel like it's best to ask. And again, I find myself asking a question of the bard. Is it better to be feared or respected?
I want them to fear how much they respect us. You know.
It is best to be loved, but fear and respect. I say this as I'm drawing and spinning the cylinder.
Creed's gonna scream out that the first one that comes out should be granted mercy.
I would like to. I would
Go
like
ahead.
to do a thing if I may.
Go for it.
I'm literally just gonna fire off around. Now that I have your attention, please.
Just down the hallway.
Yep. Come out now and surrender, or I'm gonna hang each and every single one of you by your entrails outside for everyone to see.
So
That
you hear
there is no third
response.
option.
You hear no response. You fire, but there is no noise. As you all approach the antechamber slowly, walking down the hallway shoulder to shoulder, weapons drawn at the ready to finish what you started. You peer down the hallways to your left and right, and you see that the doors are open and no one is there. You enter the antechamber, or at least the doorway of it, and you simply see that there are 3 final chambers on the end. The doors are closed, but as you get closer to the opening, you find that the doors begin to open, and you see 3 odd-looking individuals step out in robes and garnishes, chains and sigils, sensors following behind them, as they look to just be old and belittled. They seem to float on chairs that have crafted that seem to roll themselves forward ever slowly as they simply look at you.
No.
And simply state, "We are the prophets of the Covenant. We have found you lacking heroes. You brought ruin to our city, to our plans, to our world that was meant to find peace and solidarity through the years of punishment and idealism that we have pumped into those that have put into place to positions, and you simply squandered it." Out of character, I'm using the chaos symbols to represent 3 prophets because I don't have anything else good.
I'm just gonna go ahead and fire off another round. I'm gonna
No. Greedo. Raise a hand. I know, for the longest time, you all acted as the voice for the Glass Keep. However, what that means, and he's going to reach underneath his cloak, and he's going to pull out a hand axe, and he's going to say, "It has come time for you to be silenced." And he's going to whip it at the one in the middle.
Yes!
Roll to hit.
Yes!
Roll what?
Roll to hit.
take a 1d8.
I will happily take that. All right, hang on. I have to find the stupid hand axe. I didn't equip it. Hang on.
How
Yeah, I
dare.
know. How dare I? Okay, you said plus a D8.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna need that.
Well, you
So
still get to keep
you,
it. So.
You get to keep it because of bard stuff. So you just whip this hand axe at the one in the center, which is the Prophet of Justice. And you
that's
slam
beautiful.
this hand axe into his chest, catching him off guard as he gurgles and seems to fall out of the chair holding onto the axe. The other two seem appalled. They look at you and go, "Why dare you strike us? What grief have we brought you besides trying to give you a better life?"
You don't get to make that fucking call. I'm literally spinning the cylinder over.
You ordered me dead. You ordered countless soldiers of Glass Keep dead. You sit atop your mountain and laugh at those below you how weak we are. We take your orders, we fight and die. For what? Your hidden city on the water? The pitiful excuse for leadership? You know what? Well, turning cactus. Do your best.
Grim.
Mm-hmm.
I would humbly like to cast something. As soon as my
What would you
as soon
like
as my
to
fire
cast?
as soon as D&D Beyond unfucks itself, I will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
While we're waiting for that, I just want to say that I thought they were going to come out and like try to like talk us into like working for them and like, oh look, we're just like old men that are, you know, whatever, and I was going to have to like convince Creed to go ham on them, but Creed was just like, "Nope, let's go."
I wanted to work in the Arbiter's statement, but I was like, how do I do this? So I thought about the axe thing, and I thought about when to ask them a question, but I thought that'd be too on the nose. And so I just went for straightforward.
Are these spacings real?
Yes.
They're accurate.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Synaptic Static
Mm-hmm.
on Zinchi Boy here.
Okay.
Well, not Zinchi Boy.
Yeah. Prophet of Truth.
Yep. That is a intelligence save of 16.
Okay. And then Zonk and Zonketh. Yeet. He saves it.
And he can hang on. Cutting words as a bonus action. Take 1d8 off of that.
Okay. Let me roll that. He doesn't make it.
Okay, cool. He can take 8d6 of psychic damage.
8d6 of psychic damage. Okay. So I will roll this for you so you can see on Owlbear. You said 8?
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. So here comes the dabblage.
After a failed save, the target has muddled thoughts for 1 minute. During that time, it rolls a d6 and subtracts the number from it. Subtracts the number rolled from all of its attack rolls and ability checks, as well as its Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration. And this last, Synaptic Static is quite spicy.
Yes, quite. So you drop that on him, and the Kingslayer steps forward as you do it and goes, "Cactus, cast what you wish, but do not step into the room. The threads speak of ill fate ahead of the threshold."
I don't need to. Good enough for me. We all have guns. Twazzle, you want a gun?
You want a gun.
Twazzle, my dear, would you like a firearm?
If we're all going while Cactus and Twazzle are figuring out arms here, I would like to produce my spiritual weapon.
Yes.
Just right here in front of good old Justice Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will roll to hit him with said spiritual weapon.
Oh my god, please have the hammer hit the axe and drive it farther in.
Spiritual weapon. Cast you, and then rolling to hit. Draw. Ooh, not very good. 12 against an old man in a wheelchair.
Ugh.
A 12 won't be good enough to hit the old man in the wheelchair.
Feels bad. Okay.
Just roll to push him over.
Hey Nate. Next time you get a 1d8.
Oh, thanks.
I can't do it now because we know the result of the roll, but
Yep, that's fine.
Alright, anyone else want to pull actions? Zarya, I imagine you want to cast gun.
Well, so I was kind of thinking of saving gun in case, we need it for, like, a literal bigger, like, bad person instead of, like... Because they're, like, normal sized, right?
Yeah.
you do have the rifle I gave you.
Yeah, I know. I still have a rifle, because that's a 2. So I will... Let's see, there's damage on the left and middle one.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I will, on the right one, the red one, I will Hunter's Mark. And, yeah, I'll use the rifle instead. I think it's regular gun.
Regular gun. Very good.
And I roll once. A 26.
That's a hit. That's a hit with regular gun.
And
Sorry, what are your fucking dice? I can't recall the last time you rolled below a 19.
And then I don't think I have advantage. Or because we're going first? I don't know. Or snack attack.
No, they would have eyes on you. So no sneak
then,
attack.
And then favorite foe is just says hit it. And then what is my? I think it's just a D6 for Hunter's Mark.
So you significantly wound the Prophet of Reconciliation from your shot. And at this point,
this bitch.
reconcile these grievances, motherfucker. So the last one we have is Zelly with Miss Twazzle. What do you wish to do?
Do you want gun?
Doesn't sound good.
Check your DMs.
I saw.
Okay.
That's why I'm trying to get everything going. I saw.
What do I need to roll?
If you're using gun, just roll the hit.
Okay.
Roll the hit with a ranged weapon. So your dex plus your proficiency.
Or one of those insane sorcerer spells you have.
Well, she has a crossbows. We can flavor that. That's fine.
That's what I'm using. That's what I just clicked.
Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
$13.
So you hit him. Which one are you aiming at? Blue, purple, or red?
Purple.
Okay. So you hit purple with your crossbow, or well, your gun. And I'm not going to have you roll damage dice, as he has just been harassed by a spiritual weapon, has a hand axe in his chest, and is shot by Twazzle with a gun. Catch this lead. You see that prophet slump out of his chair completely onto the floor, the deceased. And you can see that the other two prophets begin to panic as the Kingslayer steps into the room. Very interestingly, as he seems to walk in a strange pattern. Almost if he's stepping around something that he can only see. And he simply stares at the Prophet of Reconciliation. And he simply says, I see where your threads lie. You gave me this curse. You stared the monster that you created to serve your purpose. Its teeth now fall onto your throat. As you see him disappear in a poof of smoke and reappear behind the prophet. As you see him drive these two very large and intrinsically designed daggers in his hands down through both sides of the clavicle of the prophet. As you see the prophet reach up to try and stop him, as he just drives the daggers further into the chest of the prophet as he struggles to fight back, ripping them out and throwing them out of his chair, looking to the prophet of truth and says, one remains of the head of the Hydra. Your choice lies within your own destiny now. I will not decide your fate. Only you will. And as he stands saying this, he beckons you all to enter the room, as he now has deemed it safe. And as you all enter and he turns, you see that there are windows on the left and right side of the room that open up looking across the skyline and the cityscape across High Charity. As he steps towards the body of the Prophet of Reconciliation, simply taking a final dagger strike to its chest to make sure that it stays down. He stands and points at the Prophet of Truth as you see a lightning bolt crash through the window, melting the glass and striking the Kingslayer where he stands. When the light fades, all catching you by surprise, you see the Kingslayer look down towards his chest, and you see that there is a hole burned through his body as he collapses to his knees and falls down onto the stone next to the prophet he has slain.
Well, Zeus is no longer horny. Okay.
I didn't take my other action, nor did my pupper dog, so I would like to shoot Truth.
Okay.
And then have my pupper run in and attack, too. 3-4.
Alright. Roll for your pupper as well.
I just pinned it, and then I lost it.
How dare! If I remember, I think they're a +7 to attack.
Oh my gosh. This is really obnoxious. Please just stay up there. Primal Companion. Charge if the beast moves at least 20 feet. 1 extra d6. What is the to hit?
I think it's a +7, Zarya.
A 1d8 plus to hit. Yeah, 1d8 plus 2. Armor class, hit points, senses, charge. This one's a strength save. Strength BC.
Okay.
Your spell attack modifier. Good hit.
Oh, 2 hit. Oh yeah, so yes, 7. Got it. Okay. So D 20. Damn, +7.
Alright.
And I think a 15 strength save because I'm charging.
Yeah, he'll fail the strength save. So you go to fire and your pupper goes to charge. You are all dead set on finishing this fight no matter what is happening outside. And as the pupper charges and strikes the prophet, your rifle pulling the trigger and the round leaving the muzzle, all of a sudden another lightning flash breaks through the other side of the glass, and you see a shape in the smoke as you hear your rounds land, but you hear the prophet scream, but not for the reason of what you're doing. As the smoke clears, you see the back of a very large humanoid. A white cloak over his shoulder and wrapped around his waist. His skin darkened of his time in the Mediterranean. Long white hair and a long white beard off of his head. His stature at least 9 feet tall. Scars of what looked to be lightning damage arcing through his body cascade down his back and his arms. His body seems thick and toned, as he seems that he could break a tree in half with his bare hands if he wished. And he is simply standing in front of the prophet. Your rounds and your popper seem to hit it instead of the prophet you were aiming for. And you just hear a deep voice emanate from this creature, this monster that stands in front of you. I wish to keep one of them alive for my own questions. I imagined that if my son Ares would open the way that I would get here unencumbered, and he was correct. I did not realize that I would have been beaten to the punch by mortals. Though you have surprised me before, even before I was trapped in the in-between. And I imagine I have you to thank for the falling of the Colossi in the ocean, the death of Athena, the alliance with my son. An interesting situation to find ourselves. And you turn or he turns to look at you, and you realize that it is Zeus.
Uh, are we about to throw down with Zeus, or does it like how we? What do we? Can I like make an insight check on his like? He wants to question one of them. Are we in an immediate danger of being
Yes.
killed?
And he is basically just giving you a pause to make any exclamations or do any kind of role play before he continued speaking. But if you want to, you don't need to roll insight. You can look that his face is stone cut and furious. Anger boils behind his eyes.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't prepared for this at all, so I have no idea what to say. It's Zeus. I have no. Creed's not really gonna still understand who this guy is, but I don't know what I don't know what to say here. I can't think of anything clever.
He looks down at the stunned silence and goes, I wish to retake this world and make it in the image of what I believed was correct all those millennia ago. And I see that those like you are going to stop my agenda from fulfilling itself, which, as you can imagine, is a problem for one such as me, which is why I struck down your friend. Removing one of the chess pieces from the board before the master himself is there is impolite. And now I find myself with those that have struck down one of my own kin, that have struck down another of the pantheons that have tried to take a piece of this land for their own. I see that while you are here, I will not have peace and the ability to do as I please. And with that, that means that you must be removed from the board.
We've killed gods before, you big sparky bitch.
If I might point out, at least what it appears to have been insinuated by one of your other children, your daughter was a bit of a bitch.
That may be true, but even those mortals should know that when you kill one kin, you fight the rest of them, including their father. And you see him start to gather energy in his right hand. And he goes, you are outmatched. The battle was over before it started. This is where your adventure ends. And unfortunately for you... What? What you got?
Creed's going to deliberately interrupt. Might I ask you a question?
I may give you a final word to speak before I remove you from this existence.
How do I do this? Creed is going to pull a feather and ask, do you know what fear is?
I killed and ate my own father. I am aware of what fear is. Watch, Commander. Try your best.
You even know my name. How wonderful. So yeah, I just projected a phantasmal image of his worst fear.
Alright.
Wisdom 16.
Wisdom 16. Let's go. So he saves it with a critical.
Well, I thought that would work.
I fought the Titans and sealed them away in a crater in the earth I made with my own hands. I ate my father from the inside as he tried to consume me to keep his own throne. I do not feel fear. I bring fear. I am not the Zeus you've heard of in stories, of the mythical and fantastical sort. I am the side that never makes it into the books. The darker side. The warmonger. The destroyer. The titan killer. And now I'm going to remove the final pieces from the board of conquest that has abetted me so long due to the interference of the Watchers and the humans of yore. Be gone. And he throws this ball of lightning energy at you. You all feel powerless to stop it as it simply flies at you. The prophet sits behind him, screaming in fear. You see the Kingslayer dead on the floor, the other two prophets deceased as well. You watch his energy come closer. You all brace for the impact. And Creed, as you stare down this blast, knowing that you were so very close to finishing what you started, you begin to hear the ticking of a clock, audible and outreaching. It seems to echo throughout the chamber, filling your ears and the world around you as it starts to gray and starts to slow. You see the ball of energy hit what looks to be a dome placed around you, the energy ebbing around the shield and forming a full capsule. You stand in real time, able to move, but you see your friends, your compatriots, frozen in time. And you watch as each one of them seems to disappear from in front of your eyes. And so we will start with Cactus, as he is not here, as he is not feeling great. Cactus, if you are listening, this is what occurs. You find yourself back in your home, in your chair in your basement, with your dog on your bed, food on a plate where you once left it before you walked out of the door into the stone corridor that led you to Head Thunder in the first place. You still have your favorite game on the screen, your computer running in peak efficiency, the messages to your friends still live, and without that you believed you had read them, but they're in the same timestamp of once you left. You have no recollection of what has occurred over the past year within the Vale. You imagine that you had just fallen asleep at your chair, waking up with a shock as if coming back from a bad dream. And you find yourself sitting in the basement with aftermaths, aftershocks of the events that have transpired over the past 12 months within the Vale. Your head filling with thoughts, ideas for a game that you wanted to play, a game known as Dungeons and Dragons. You find yourself writing up a character, writing it down as a stroke of genius comes to your mind of a tiefling bard with a fear-mongering backstory and a dark side to boot. Though honorable and gun-wieldy, they know how to get a job done, though their appearance may say otherwise. Zarya and Nate, you find yourselves back where you once started, but a few minutes before you walked through the door into the stone pathway that led you to Head Thunder. When you left, it was dark. The children were asleep, and you were setting up for a night of shenanigans and raids on Final Fantasy. Maybe in that match of Overwatch, who's to truly say? You wake up in your bed to the sounds of one of your children walking into the doorway asking for a simple glass of water, awaking you as they had a terrible nightmare that you were gone, that you were missing for so long. You realize that it is the day you left. Minutes have not passed, and you have no recollection of where you have been. You seem to have had nightmares, of dreams, of ideas of a fantastical place full of magic, as if you were actually there. More than the games you've played before in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, but even deeper, where you felt almost a part of the world and the story that unfolded. Nate has nightmares of dying, not once but twice. Waking up in a shock next to Zarya. But again, the dreams and nightmares come and ebb away as you find yourself back in routine, taking care of the children in your home that you're so comfortable with, in the place that you love so much. And you believe that you may have an idea for a new character to draw, but you believe that sleep will be most beneficial at this point in time. And you simply gather the glass of water and tuck yourself back into bed, as exhaustion seems to claw at you more than it normally does, and you seem to have been twisting in your sleep. A strange occurrence, but not one that is unfamiliar, and you simply fall back into slumber, hoping to find a better tomorrow that ebbs away the stress and anxiety of these nightmares that have flown through your mind. Twazel, you
Yeah.
find yourself back in Head Thunder. The memories of everything after your attempted assassination on the Duke are gone. You do not recall what has happened. You do not recall who you were with or why. You don't recall your time in the prison, the Death Leaper you fought, the adventures you've gone on, the spider that you saw tarnished by Creed, the desert travel, the travel to Ravenholm, and the proof of your strength in the face of the beast. None of that reconciles back into your mind. You simply find yourself without purpose, in the sense of just the enemy you wish to find is no longer here. You seem lost. But then a secondary purpose fills your heart as you see another flag being raised atop the castle of Head Thunder, one representing a helmet of Grecan symbolism that you seem to recognize. And in your heart, you realize that if you are here among the carnage, the broken, the chaos, that you might as well put to use the skills you have gathered over these years. And that there will always be another name on the list that ever grows that you can remove from the board. Those words echoing through your head as you stand upon the roof of the prison that you don't remember spending time in. And finally, we swing back to Creed. As you watched all of your friends disappear, you were approached by a faceless man in a blue suit and blue bowler hat. He simply walked slowly forward towards you, followed by an image of a specter, a ghostly image of a face you recognize. You begin to feel that your dreams are coming to fruition, as the face you recognize is that of Max, in his garb as the Undying King, standing tall and stout next to Bill, the Watcher. They simply look at you, and Bill is the first to speak. Goes, Watch Commander Creed in the flesh, or rather the plate suit. I do not touch your weapons or your armor, as you've earned it through your time in this world. You see, I concurred with my associate Maximilian that you should be the one offered a job. You see, I have plucked you out of this little situation, as we do not tend to interfere. We tend to watch and make sure events coincide as they are supposed to. But as I imagine you're familiar with, the right person in the wrong place can make all the difference. And you see the world around you has begun to crumble. We wish to place you in a spot that will make that difference, if you wish to accept it. If you don't, we will simply let you fall where you stand. A rather anticlimactic ending to one such as yourself, to have gained such prestige and lose it in an instant. I would not worry about your friends, as I imagine you have questions. They have all been moved back to where they've come from, given the solace they wished for, the peace they hoped for, the ability to start again, with no memory of what has transpired here. But you are special. And Max steps forward to you and goes, "Well, Creed, I imagined that we would meet one day again. I did not imagine it'd be so soon. But I do believe that you are the right man for the right job in the wrong place to help those that will be befallen by this unwinnable war that has erupted along the site of the Vale. You should be thankful of our ability to step in. It seems that there was an event that occurred somewhere within the Vale, a stabilization of an anomaly that seemed to allow us this one moment to step in. I believe if you ever meet them, you should thank them. You'll see them quite clearly, as it is a Goliath and Aarakocra, 2 elves, a dwarf, and a human, seem to find a way to stabilize whatever may have been broken along this Vale, and thus gave us a single moment to make a difference, much of you have used to your own willpower before. So, Mr. Creed, what will your choice be?"
Well, and he'll sheath his sword. When do we start?
You see Max smile at you, that toothy grin you came to love so much as he walked with you through everything. And he stands next to you, you feel his spectral hand lay on your shoulder, and he goes, "I cannot tell you where or when, but we're glad that you have accepted, because they're going to need all the help they can get. Try not to catch frostbite." As you see him snap his fingers, and you find yourself between 2 large snow-capped mountain peaks. You see a barren path cut through the stone in front of you, leading to a small opening in the mountainside.
He's gonna follow the path.
You follow the path as the icy winds come down from the mountainside, seeming to freeze your bones as you walk, but you continue forward without hesitation, pushing ever harder to get to this spot. You get inside the mountain, and you find that there's an iron gate in front of you. The lock seems to be rusted, the flashes from your dreams becoming fruition, as you see that a simple strike from your sword should break the lock free.
He'll do it.
You break the lock, swinging the rusted iron gate open. The squeaking, the squeaking, and the screeching echoing down the hallway cut into the mountain. The only light a singular torch on your right. Down the hall, darkness continues to flow, as the pathway leads to an open chamber about 40 yards ahead of you, that you can thankfully see due to the torch and your dark vision that you have due to your background. You walk quietly, quaintly, down the hall, sword drawn, not sure what to look for. As you enter the chamber, you hear the multitude of cocking guns all around you, as a flare is cracked and thrown into the center of the room near your feet. And you see 14 to 16 combatants standing around you, weapons drawn at the ready, all wearing different colors and different affiliations from what you can see. You hear one of them perk up and go, from the darkness, simply say, "Who are you? How did you get in here?"
I am Watch Commander Creed, the War Master Leanne Rose's Ravenholm. As to how I got here, well, I suppose you could say it's a long story.
The path you came in through leads from the Deathlands, an area controlled by Goliaths and giants. It's been closed for many years, especially since we don't go back to Ravenholm anymore. And you said your name was Creed?
Was? It is.
Do you swear on the loyalty of your War Master that your name is as you said?
Hang on. Silly question. How exactly does a tinderbox work?
It's a box with tinder and some matches. Essentially,
Alright.
it lets you make a small fire.
Would I think it'd be really sick. Just like reach out and just like cause sparks to light up the symbol. I swore an oath to him, and I swore my life in allegiance to his service and to abide by his duty. So yes, I'd say I swear by my name and my title.
You see the one asking the question step forward as he nods to another one as they flip a large switch on the wall and lights come on in this room. You find yourself in the start of a large antechamber filled with other soldiers, all waiting, sitting on bedrolls or on cots, some injured and some not. They all seem to carry different colors of armor, but on their capes, their pauldrons, they all have a simple yellow symbol painted on that is reminiscent of the Ravenholm sigil. And the one that steps forward is one that you recognize. It is one of the night sergeants from the Glass Keep that you served with in the Third Wall. He looks like he's aged significantly. He simply looks at you and goes, "Creed, how do you look like you haven't aged a day?"
Open hand stare at his both sides with hands. Well, I haven't.
Creed,
How long
we
has it
thought
been?
We thought you were dead after the assault on High Charity. Your forces that were there mostly were wiped out. The only survivors were a handful that made it back to the mainland, to the Glass Keep. They told us that the spire exploded, with you inside. That was 13 years ago.
Well, I didn't. Well, I can't tell you quite what happened. For I truly don't quite believe it myself. What? We lost, didn't we?
He nods solemnly and goes, Yes, we lost. When Zeus showed up, it was the end of what we could muster as a resistance. Ares fought and also lost. The other gods of the pantheon either swore allegiance or were killed on the spot. The enemies that now roam this land are creatures of malformation. An oppressive force shifted and shaped by one of the prophets that still survived, that has now risen to an even higher ranking, given powers by Zeus to be his herald. They now create soldiers that harness lightning and metal to do their bidding. He goes, "Come with me. I must show you." And so he beckons you to follow him to essentially the command center that has a small window looking out of the landscape. You realize that you are here. Where is your symbol? Zop. He tells you that they have used the Keeper's Tomb as a fortification, as one of the cells of the resistance of what's left. He goes, "The world has changed, Creed. This region is the only one that is still standing." But as he opens the window to show you, you see the landscape has been wrought with destruction. And it goes, "Creed, I wish we could be meeting again under better circumstances. But I must welcome you now to the new world. Welcome back to the Vale, but look upon the ashes of the wake." And that's where we end our session.
May I actually have a quote before we end?
Sure.
I have to look it up because it's going to be perfect. Yeah. Where is it?
The anticipation.
Oh. Of course, now I can't find it. I can't tell you it'll be great, though. So, there it is. So, Creed's gonna look at the devastation. This beautiful land. All roads lead back to one's home. Not your birthplace, maybe. But home. Home isn't where you're born into this world. It can be a place of mind. A moment where you know who you are. The history of it. And they can be places you breathe life into. That's all I got.
And
I
that's
just steal
where
that
we
quote from
end-
Vegas.
There you go. And that's where we end the finale of Beyond the Veil. Welcome to the brave new world, the ashes of the wake.
Dang, dude.
Everywhere.
Yo, that was awesome.
We made it home. So we think.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't quite see Zeus actually being a G. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, he was kind of not happy with the situation and him being an oppressor, a conqueror, especially in old mythology where he's an absolute a-hole. Yeah, he was going to come and make sure you didn't stop anything from occurring that he wanted. But yeah, so that is the end of Beyond the Veil. And will lead us into the beginning of the new campaign starting in the second week of August. Any final closing remarks from anybody? This has been a hell of a ride for all of us, so...
I'm sad I didn't use Big Gun.
Oh, big gun.
I was so... I was trying not to cry, because you're like, oh yeah, this person goes home and they forget everything. It's great. Then these guys go home and it's great, and then we go back to Creed. And I was like, and he's gonna die alone. And I was like, oh, it's gonna suck.
Oh no, he didn't die. He was given a job.
I not gonna lie, I didn't see Half-Life coming into this.
Yes. So to answer the question in chat, Creed will be a PC in the upcoming campaign, the sequel. So Blackburn will be playing Creed again as the same Watch Commander with his same loadout he currently has as one of the characters of the game for Fridays.
Oh, I didn't see it. Phenomenal. It's great.
Yeah, so closing remarks. Anybody got anything interesting to say? So, Salty, I'll circle back to your question in a second.
I thought that was great. That was awesome.
Good story.
Had a blast.
Yeah, the story was really
The story was awesome.
the deja vu.
I like it.
Well, I'm glad you all enjoyed it, and I was happy to have you all on this journey with us. Being one of the first campaigns that I'm streaming with a live audience was definitely a change of pace, but I'm glad you guys were all able to have fun, and I'll be sad to see you go. As, I know life takes turns and likes to take punchies.
Also, both kids are gone during the day.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, but makes our nights super busy, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I get that 100%. But yeah, so to answer Salty's question, that is where you were 13 years ago. Because of your actions that are going to occur on the next Saturday. It's going to be a little odd timeline-wise because you guys technically got there before you're able to do your actions that would have affected the finale. Essentially, whatever you're going to do is going to give Bill and Max that opening to stop the party from being killed. It's going to allow Creed to basically get pulled into where he needs to be to help the Resistance in the sequel. So basically, the whole idea is you're going to finish your job and then you're going to get pulled back out, and what you did to stabilize the anomaly is going to allow them that moment, and then you're going to get pulled back into Etheria. So you, as a party for the Etheria group, won't know what's going on in the world, minus of what the Keeper will tell you. But basically once you're done, basically Creed is going to be, with the rest of you guys for Friday, is going to be in this area 13 years later after the fall of High Charity. Or, well, the supposed fall of High Charity. But yeah. So, with that, I got nothing else. We had our closing comments. I know Kag said a dip because his head is still giving him a little bit of trouble because of the sickness he had, which is fine. But I'm glad everyone was able to be here. I'm glad everyone was able to witness it, and I hope those of you who were in chat who are going to be in my Friday game, you now know what has occurred. You now have your background for what you're going to be looking for. You are going to be members of a resistance. You are going to be people who are going to be trying to take back this world from whatever monster has reared its ugly head to stake its claim in the Vale. And the world will be forever changed because of it. So fix down your backstories and build your characters. You guys are going to be level 7s. So if you haven't already set your stuff to level 7, go ahead and do so. Blackburn, you're going to still be a level 8 with Creed. Just because I'm not going to have you downgrade.
Alright.
So go ahead and make that stuff happen for those who are looking to play Friday. I'll be resetting the events and everything on Twitch to show that the campaign will be starting the second week. I think we talked it was the 12th. And so we'll talk about it probably the Tuesday beforehand on the podcast before we do anything major. But with that, I got nothing else. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I'm glad you all had fun. This was a really fun story to kind of write out and play into all the different aspects of your characters. And so, yeah. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and do a sick raid out. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go slam into Psycho Joker. He's playing the Dead of Islands, and so we're going to go show him some TLC. Go give him some good old loves from the Dungeon Daddy. Tell him he's earned it. And so with that, this will be the last time you hear goodbye from all of us. So say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
When you say goodbye, you don't always leave.
And with those beautiful final words, we will close out the audio. We'll leave you with a nice little music as we raid out. Thank you all for being here. This wouldn't be possible without you, and we'll see you next time.